Women are so good at sitting down and talking to each other and making themselves feel better.
That's the mission, the motto of my podcast. You turned 60 this year.
Yes, it is my year. And so far, it's the best year of my life. I think in my 40s, I looked at my age like a clock.
What made you braver?
Just do things for yourself. Don't expect to know everything in your 30s.
The mere fact that you want something is enough. Hello everyone, my name is Anya, and here is a podcast where I chat with the incredible women I know about the biggest life transitions we all go through as women and the moments that make us self-aware of our superpowers. And today I have an amazing guest, Caroline Labouchere, a model, a wellness advocate, an influencer who has found her passion at the age of 54, right?
That's when my life changed. Yeah.
Right. Welcome.
Thank you, Anya, for having me. It's very kind of you.
I'm so happy we're doing that. And today I actually scrolled your Instagram and I realized that it's your year, this one. You turned 60 this year.
Yes, it is my year. And so far, it's the best year of my life. It's been incredible. I've traveled more this year. Changing of my life was saying yes to things instead of, oh, I don't know, or no, or yes.
Was it a deliberate decision to say yes?
It is a deliberate decision because you don't know what's going to come out of that yes. And before, I didn't feel like anything needed to come out of it. It was very much a process. As women age, we're not taught to be excited to age, to be happy and know that there are better things ahead. When you're in your 30s, or early 40s, you're looking after kids and you're thinking, oh my God, you just want to pull your hair out. Every part of your life has a phase, but how many people know that your 60s can be the best time? You're not over the hill. This is my time and I'm going to enjoy it.
As you said, a lot of women are afraid of age. And to be honest,
the majority of women.
I am with them.
Yeah, because you get to 40 and it's like, oh my God, 40. I think in my 40s, I looked at my age like a clock. So it was like, okay, 40, that means I'm halfway through my life, thinking I was going to live until I was 80. And then 50, oh my God, I'm really over halfway through my life. And this is all downward spiral. But my grandmother died when she was 97, so potentially I'm going to live until I'm 100. So why not live these years as the most exciting?
I said that I love chatting with women about moments that actually changed our life. And you said that your moment happened at the age of 53?
54, yeah.
54, yeah. When you decided to start modeling from scratch.
That wasn't a decision. That was an invitation. My daughter was working in London and her boss was looking for a grey model. And so she said, do you want to come and meet my boss? So he flew me to London and I got the job, having never modelled before. So it wasn't I'm going to go and start modelling now. It was, okay, I'm going to say yes to this. I don't know if I can do it, but I did. And it put me in British Vogue 8 times in the first year. The campaign was huge and it was very exciting.
Were you hesitating to take that flight?
Never. That is also really random. I never, ever thought, or maybe I did. Maybe I did think I couldn't do it, but the majority of the time I thought I can do this. But everybody there, I think it really depends who's around you, doesn't it? So everybody at the shoot was really proactive, positive. This is what you're wearing. Do you like it? How do you feel? Are your feet cold? We've got some socks. We've got some slippers. I mean, I just felt like a princess. And they believed I could do it. And you're standing in front of the cameraman and he's taking pictures and he's saying, that's great. So that makes you continue. So there was no negativity in the room. I think that makes a big difference anywhere in life. If you've got anyone around you who brings negativity, failure is possible.
No, I totally agree with you that like having people's support is incredible.
Yeah.
But it's also about having doubts in your head sometimes, because I know so many women who always question themselves.
Yeah.
Am I good enough for that? Do I deserve that?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm too old. Maybe I'm too, I don't know, dumb for
Maybe I
that
should
job.
color my hair.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe I should lose some weight.
Yes.
Kind of like always questioning yourself.
I think words are extremely important, and it is that is a conscious decision, because all through my life I've said to people, I'm not intelligent. I'm street smart. I was born in London. I consider myself street smart. So I can help you solve things. I'm quite artistic, so I can paint, cook, sew, but ask me about geography or maths.
That was my next question.
Then I would say to you, I hated school. I was not, I am not academic. But there comes the change of thought that if you're not good at something, find somebody who's good at that, because we are not all good at everything. And I think we try too hard to be good at everything.
What was your path towards finding things you're good at?
I already knew what I was good at, because basically the only O level I got at school was art. I already knew that. It's accepting that it's enough. It's accepting that there is a place for you, because the intelligent person next to you isn't necessarily able to talk to anyone. And I think I can talk to anyone and make them feel comfortable. And I think that in itself is an important thing. And you don't have to be intelligent to do that.
Yeah, but a lot of people underestimate this capability. And I'm just like interested, where does this feeling of self-worthness come? And
That grows.
Can you elaborate on that?
When I was 54 and I got this incredible modeling job, I came back to Dubai thinking, I'm a model. And Dubai said, sorry, who are you? No, because British Vogue isn't sold here, or isn't readily available. And so no one knew. But I thought I was the bee's knees. And so that could have knocked me flat. And maybe in some ways it did. But I was hungry by that time, and I wanted more of that. And so it was I can do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to show you that I can do it. And that's where I went. And I'm still kicking and fighting. And
no, but I like that. It's trying things you might be good at and kind of like witnessing, how do I feel about it? Do I feel hungry about it? Do I want more? And then it's a deliberate decision.
Yes.
It's like a target.
Yes. And everyone needs targets. Otherwise, if you don't have aims and targets, what have you got?
How do you define them? Like, do you have a goal
They can
list?
change. They can change. It's a bit like choosing a sofa and then not liking it and wanting another one a year later. They will say, but you said that was your favorite. Well, yeah, it was a year ago, but it isn't now.
I am different.
I know, I've changed. But that's kind of okay. I mean, other than the fact that sofa costs money and now you have to find more money to buy another sofa. But it's okay to change your mind. We all change and we evolve, and we also change because of the people around us. I think that is huge in whether you are a positive or a negative person.
Mm-hmm. Talking about the magazines, you were in the British Vogue, but this year was your first Dubai cover, the Hello magazine.
I was actually Turkey.
Hello
Yes,
Turkey.
It was Hello Turkey, and then Vogue Turkey.
Vogue Turkey, okay.
Yeah, Mimi, my daughter, and I have been in Hello here. We've been in a couple of other magazines. I've been in Vogue Arabia, but no covers here yet.
Okay, so a new target coming.
It's been on my wish list for a while, my vision board.
How does it feel to be on a magazine cover when you're 60, actually?
Super cool. It's so lovely to hear positive comments from people saying, well done. And so many women that write to me and say, I want to start modeling. How do I do it? And so I have a YouTube channel. I did a talk about that. But you have to want it. It's the same with losing weight. You have to want it more than that piece of toast. And then somebody who just said to me, I really want to lose weight, says, oh, but I really want that piece of toast. Well, that's fine. But you have to choose.
You have to choose and be honest with yourself, probably. I think that's where people usually lie to themselves. At least I do sometimes.
Yeah. And that's fine, as long as you know you want that toast more than losing weight.
What about, I just want to ask you about this, redefining your passion when you're already over 50? Because I think nowadays there is a lot of talk about how important it is to find your passion in life. And usually people who are, let's say, in their 30s, they're like, oh, I haven't. Like, what's wrong with me? Everybody knows their passion. Everybody is good at something. And I am in the corporate world. I don't really know whether I'm good at it or not. If you were to give an advice to a person who is, let's say, in the 30s, struggling to find this life passion, what would you say?
Don't stress. Yeah, why do you feel the need to know your passion in your 30s? It's going to change anyway, probably. I coincidentally met an amazing woman in London who opened a pet shop, as in not selling animals, but pet things.
Yeah.
In London, and she opened it when she was 50, and she had always wanted, I think she was a lawyer or something, she'd always wanted a pet shop. So it is, you can start ballroom dancing in your 50s or your 60s. Don't expect to know everything in your 30s. Don't expect to know yourself. You have so much growing to do, and you will be very different. My family would say that I'm a very different person now, and I'm still learning about myself.
How different are you? Like, what has changed in yourself?
I'm not more patient. I wish I was, but that is not one of my virtues. But I'm braver.
Wow.
Going out in the evening by myself to an event, I never, ever would have done that. I followed my husband during our marriage. We've been married for 33 years. We're very happy. But I will now go out without him. I'm going to F1 on Friday without him.
Nice.
Which is weird. I'm going with him on Saturday and then with my daughter on Sunday. First time, F1. 3 days. I don't even know if I like it.
You will see.
Yeah. I hope I don't see on Friday because I've got Saturday and Sunday to go.
What made you braver?
Decisions, again. I think it's... if I don't do it, it's thinking of the opposites. If I don't go, I'm not going to bump into that person who's going to give me an opportunity to do something else, to further myself. If I stay home, how am I growing as a person? Opportunities arise every day, and I think we don't see them, even if they're right in front of us. You don't expect opportunities to happen every day, but they do. But you have to put yourself out there in order to get them.
I think sometimes we even ignore opportunities just
Yeah.
because we think, oh, is this an opportunity?
Yeah.
And as I said, we start to question ourselves,
Yeah.
and this self-talk actually kills the opportunity and the timing sometimes.
Yeah. And my husband, David, talks quite a lot about gut and gut health. And so he says to people that we share microbiome with each other just by touching each other. And so there are certain people who have healthier microbiome than others. When you think about microbiome and gut health, you know, there's that saying that says, go with your gut feeling. It's really real. And you don't think, yeah, where does that come from? Go with your gut. It's a feeling inside you. And that can be really strong sometimes. And it's easy also to ignore. So your gut is telling you to go one way, but you think, no. So this morning I had the opportunity to go and do something before coming here. And I was thinking, no, I'm going to be too rushed. I should have done it. I should have just gone and done it. Because my gut was telling me to seize the day.
No, I like that. And gut feeling is enough. Like the mere fact that you want something is enough. Because I think sometimes we always find why, kind of like you
Find a reason not to.
exactly find a reason not to, or find a pretext. Why is this a good opportunity or a bad opportunity? And sometimes just the gut feeling is enough. But the
It's
question
like people also.
with
If
the
you have a
people-
gut feeling about someone, it's a good idea to go with it because there's normally a reason. And I think women are much better at that than men.
with the emotional intelligence in
Yeah,
terms of
there's
reading the
something.
people
Yeah,
and
yeah,
reading
yeah.
the room.
Yeah.
I think so, but here is the question. There are a lot of people who ignore this gut feeling just because they don't really know how to understand it, how to define it, how to be friends with this gut feeling, because the decisions we make are out of the head, kind of when you analyze and reanalyze.
Because we've forgotten. Because this is what, for example, you're in your cave as a cave person. Now,
Could be.
if you come out at a certain time of day, there are going to be tigers wandering around. So your gut is saying, no, it's a certain time of day, there are tigers. Now we don't go with our gut. Back then, we did things for reasons.
Do you think, is there a way to train your gut feeling?
No, I think it's just listening to yourself. It's just actually having a moment to stop and think, why am I feeling this way? Why am I intimidated by this woman, for example? And if I'm intimidated by this person, why would I want to be around them? Why am I putting myself through that angst?
Do you think getting older helps in order to understand the gut feeling?
It can, because again, it's up to you whether you take it on board or not. I think as you get older, you've learned more about yourself. Therefore, you don't feel the need to be around those people as much as you're older because your group is probably smaller because that's all you need.
Have you ever had this stereotype thinking that being beautiful is being young? Because I think, especially in the media, especially if you take the magazine's cover or whatever, there is a kind of a feeling that you have to be young in order to be called beautiful. And there is a link, which I think your story kind of breaks. And you say, well, look at me and look at you.
I find it very frustrating. I feel more beautiful now than I did on my wedding day. And I feel more beautiful now than I ever did in my younger life. And so to see young people on the front of magazines all the time is just frustrating because for me, when I'm photographed, I can see the excitement and the happiness and I can see everything in my eyes. And I think, and also the hunger. And I think that the younger people don't necessarily have that because it's like, I'm young, I'm beautiful. Whereas, oh my God, I feel beautiful. I can actually say out loud, I feel beautiful. And never would I have done that when I was younger. And so I think magazines are missing a trick. I think it's really sad. And I think that they're holding women back. It takes all ages to raise a child in a village. And so therefore think of those magazines as raising the village, raising the child of the village. They're not all of one age. And why am I going to buy a magazine that has a 20-year-old on the front of it, covered in makeup? Put me on the front of the magazine with no makeup. It would just be refreshing to see it all to be a bit wider.
But it's interesting because you know that I come from Russia, and in that part of the world,
And your English is excellent, by the way.
Thank you so much. I don't think so.
It is amazing.
But I still come from a country where women tend to hide their age sometimes, and the questions, "How old are you?" are not.
We're not supposed to say that.
We are not supposed to say that. They are not tactful.
It's rude.
It's rude. It's rude. Do you consider this question rude?
I don't, because I'm proud to be 60 and to feel beautiful. There are parts of my body that I don't like. I'm investigating what I can do about that because they make me unhappy. That's between me and my body. If I do something, I'll probably tell you about it because I think it's important to share things that can be done and things that don't work. But I just think it's sad that women feel that they have to hide. Again, it's up to them. If they don't want to tell people their age, then that's absolutely fine. I don't think that it's rude any longer.
But maybe it's more about the society pressure. I don't know.
For sure. I think society is very definitely still very hard on. I call myself middle-aged because I'm 60 and therefore I'm in that middle if I'm going to live until I'm 100. So I'm middle-aged.
I'm just interested, is there a way to start loving your age at some point, to change this attitude, to change this mindset, even if you were brought in a country where there is so much pressure towards it?
I think it's hard when everybody is against it, but again, it's your choice. Are you going to start the trend where you're proud to be? I hated my 40th birthday. I cried on my 40th birthday. My 50th was good. My 60th was even better. And so if you look after yourself, why wouldn't you be proud to tell people that you're 60?
But if we look backwards, like if we come back to this moment when you were 40, why you were crying?
Because I thought I was halfway through my life.
And everything is like...
Yeah, downwards. Yeah.
What would you say to yourself if you knew that you would
But I had to go through that.
Oh.
I believe that every phase makes you the person you are at the end. So I think it's okay that I had those feelings. I mean, they weren't right, but they were my feelings at the time. So I think
feelings are not right or wrong, I think also. They're feelings.
Yeah, it's good to make mistakes because there again, those mistakes make you the person at the end. And if you don't have lows, how are you going to know what the highs are like? So yeah, just keep going through as best you can, but believe that there's going to be a high. It doesn't mean to say I wake up happy every day of the week now. And I don't, I look at myself in the mirror and I think, oh my God, I really need Botox. Really, I haven't had Botox for a year, which I haven't. Really need to have Botox, which I'll probably do in January. But know that you can do things. Do things for yourself if you want to be happy, and those things are going to make you happier. Don't do them for anyone else, but do them for yourself. And women also, I think, do not put themselves first. They do everything for everyone around them, their husbands, their kids. And that's another thing. Women sit back and think, oh, I've got some extra money, I'll give it to my children. No, keep it for yourself. Do something for yourself. If you've wanted a nose job all your life, get a nose job. There are women in their 70s who just start HRT, in their 70s, having never been on it before. That is really exciting to me. The fact that they know that it's good for their bones and their heart and their brain. Just do things for yourself.
You're a mother also.
Yes.
Have you always had this attitude that you're like the first? Because mothers, I think, and I am a mother as well. I have a kid, he's 5. And I know a lot of mothers who actually devote themselves so much to the kid. And we kind of all wait for the kid to grow, kind of be okay. And then this is the time.
Yes.
But
yes.
Sometimes it's never.
Being a parent is hard. No, I say about my age, I've never been this age that I am today. So I don't know how to do it. I'm wiggling my way through as best I can. I had my boob job when I was about 41, I think. And I had it because I didn't like my boobs. They were empty. Not a good look, having had 2 kids. And I cried after. I just cried and cried and cried. I felt so guilty for spending that money on myself. days, I felt guilty. Got over it. But I really felt guilty thinking, oh, I should have taken them on holiday, or I should have done this, that, and the other. So I don't know what the answer is to that. Would you do something for yourself?
I would.
Right. Good.
I would. But I also think that the guilt, the feeling of guilt is the second name of any mother. And
Yes.
it's very hard to get rid of it because you're always, as we said, maybe not good enough, maybe a mom who could have been there more, done
Yes.
more, and kind of that.
Yes.
So it's kind of, I don't know, sometimes it feels weird to put yourself in the first place, you know?
Yes. But what are you teaching your child? From doing these things for yourself, you're teaching them that you are worthy. Yes, you are their mum, but you're also your own person. And I think that is important and something that we do not do as mothers. We do everything for them. And I certainly, for my birthday, I had to buy my birthday cake. Well, why wasn't David buying my birthday cake for me? What are the kids thinking? Or even if I didn't have a birthday cake, it's like, do they think that mummies don't have birthday cakes? The kids all have birthday cakes. I would buy a cake for my husband. What, David, are you going to buy presents for me from the kids? It's weird, but it's so wrong that we are not teaching our children that we are not just mummy, but Caroline.
Yeah, it is important.
It is so important.
And it's a process. It doesn't feel like an inborn trait, you know?
It isn't, because, again, we're not worthy. Am I a good enough parent? I'm not I've never been a helicopter parent. And I watch helicopter parents and I just think, like, what, running around after your child with a bottle of water? Have you had enough to drink? Drink some water, drink some water. Well, I didn't ever do that for my kids and they survived.
Well,
if they're thirsty,
story of a success.
If you're thirsty, I'm assuming you're going to come to me and say you're thirsty. So to a certain extent, I was not, I was going to say devoted, but I think that's the wrong word. I was not a helicopter parent, and I think children need to man up a bit these days. Life is not easy, and I think children need to know that from the very beginning.
From the start.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Yes. I'm just wondering, like, what are the components of this self-worthiness? And from what I hear is choosing yourself and not being ashamed of this choice.
No.
Maybe prioritizing yourself and your needs. What else comes to your mind?
I think it's possibly easier for men to go off and do their thing than women. I know husbands who have, I know they go off on, rugby tours or boys' nights out. My husband never did any of that, but he does go off for hours on his bicycle. He's a triathlete. Hours, running, cycling, swimming. Very different now because it's just the two of us. But if he did it back then, he would have done it. He would have disappeared for hours. And I would have been the pissed off wife. I've got the kids. When are you having them? So I can do something for myself. It just doesn't work both ways necessarily.
Why do you think men have more freedom in doing that?
Well, I was going to say the old me would have said, but it's obviously still inside me, my father left my mother when I was a baby. And so I lived my life believing that men didn't need to stay around after they had a baby. They could just leave. So I was very distrusting of men. And even when I met David, to a certain extent, I would push him away because I didn't believe he would stay. Lucky for me, he did stay. But I must have been very challenging to him because I remember the emotion bringing Max home after he was born and just, again, crying, thinking, this baby's mine. he's totally my responsibility. David can leave any day, but this is all up to me. His life is up to me. And that's it was terrifying thought for me. I don't know, how did you feel when you had your baby?
I think I didn't feel that it was only my responsibility, but I start to feel that now. And I actually know a lot of girlfriends who are going through divorces, through difficult periods in their life. And from what I see is I sometimes feel that this is a women responsibility, which is not true. But
No,
but it
it's not.
happens. But you said that's the old you that says
Well,
that.
because I don't think about my father anymore. I think, I was going to say I think I'm over that distrust of men, but I guess part of me is not. So I don't try and push my husband away anymore after 33 years of marriage. We will be together forever. I have no doubt about that. But the early years, certainly, I did try and push as many buttons as I could just to see if I could activate the leave me button, but I didn't.
Were you trying to leave him?
No, I was trying to see if he would leave me. I didn't trust at all.
How did you build this trust?
I think only time can do that, and kindness.
You've been married for so many years, 33.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I don't
And
think...
I still like him.
Yes, well, that's already an achievement.
Although he's still very annoying, but I still like him.
What do you think, from your point of view, is the secret sauce to this happy marriage, which lasts for more than 3 decades, right?
Definitely knowing that the grass is not greener. I think in so many cases you just think, I've had enough of this. Well, you're going to have to go through all of those years building a relationship with somebody else, and then maybe that's going to fail. So what did my husband do that was so bad that I would want to try and find somebody better than him? I don't think I could. He's very... well, we both trust each other completely to start off with, but he's very kind. He's very tolerant when I push his buttons. He's very kind. He's very tolerant, and it takes getting to know someone. He knows me inside and out, and I know him. You can't buy that. So you're better off working, if possible, working through, finding out why you got together in the first place. But I can understand people change. I have changed. He has changed. And we are lucky that we have grown together more. We both love going to the cinema on Saturday morning, for example. And because I have found myself, he can go cycling for 4 hours because I'm busy doing other things. If I wasn't busy doing other things and hadn't found a passion in my life that made me excited to be who I am, then I would be sitting there waiting. Well, when are you coming back? When are we going to go and do something that we can do together? You know, all of that questioning. But it's okay for him to do that. That's what he loves. And he's not out with a woman, so I should be happy with that. So it's worked, is all I can say.
But it's interesting, you mentioned that we grew and people grow in a relationship, but there are stories when people grow in different directions, you know?
Yeah, which tends to be after kids, because you've lost your partnership with your husband because you've devoted everything to your kids. And very often I think that the husband can become another child. And I do remember at times, you know, shouting and screaming and whatever. Or even David used to say to me, you're acting like one of the children. The fumes.
Whoa.
I know, I do. Yes, that didn't happen very often. But children can rule a relationship. So it's very important to try and keep your own identity.
Yeah, I think so.
Don't let them take charge.
Let's talk about your beauty routine, because I think a lot of people are actually interested in what you do in order to stay healthy, sparkling, enjoying your life. Like, how does your normal day look like?
I don't wash my face in the morning
Why?
because it's clean from the night before.
Okay, makes sense.
Yes. I have the most amazing dermatologist who's based in Dubai, and says it as it is. She's black and white. She doesn't sell products. She just tells you what your skin does and doesn't do. And so, for example, you can't moisturize from outside. You can only moisturize from inside. And she told me my face wasn't dirty in the morning. So I stopped washing it in the morning about, 3 or 4 years ago. So I would probably have some product on from the night before, which would be something like cold cream or Vaseline, one of those. So they block the moisture inside your skin, so you don't wake up dry. You're moisturized. And so I would keep that on. If I'm going to the gym, I would just go out like that. And I go to top stretching, which I love. I did the splits the day before my 60th birthday. That was my year challenge. And they are fabulous. So I would go to the residue of the cream from the night before. Then I would come home, have a shower, and put on what I have on now, which is tinted moisturizer. And that's all I have on my face, and mascara. And I started with some lipstick, but probably have that. My lipstick just goes. I don't know if you have the same problem.
Yeah, kind of.
I've got so many lipsticks, so many lip glosses. I don't know where it goes. It's not on my cup. I don't know.
I read on your Instagram that you have these 4 pillars to your wellness, which is sleep, nutrition, movement, and community.
Yes.
Yeah, can we, let's talk about everything, like sleep. How much do you sleep?
We try to go to bed, bearing in mind David gets up at 4:30 in the morning. So
Oh my God.
he starts the process. So he turns the television off at 9:30, which really annoys me. But there are other more important things to get annoyed about. So the TV goes off at 9:30. He then goes off to get ready for bed, and I sit on my phone because he takes so long getting ready for bed. And so we're in bed around 10 probably. And then he'll go at 4:30 off to cycle or swim or run. And I may stir, I may not stir. The dog stays asleep. She's with us in bed. And then I wake up at about 6:30, 6:45. And then I get up.
Sport is the second pillar. No, actually nutrition. Nutrition is the second.
Yes. I don't eat a lot. I personally don't need to eat a lot. And so I don't eat. I haven't eaten yet. I'm going from here to get my nails done, I think, today. I probably won't eat anything until 4:00.
Oh, wow.
That's just because that's the way it is today. It might be different. If it was Sunday morning, I might have bacon and eggs at 10:00 in the morning. Every day is different. But I kind of feel like my body tells me when it wants to eat. I'm very anti-eating because we are told to eat breakfast. We are told to eat lunch. Why?
So you're breaking the stereotype.
Yeah, because do you need it? Is your body telling you to eat because you were told it's breakfast time, not because it's hungry? So I kind of do intermittent fasting. I've always done it. I didn't eat breakfast when I went to school. It's just my body. And I think that's another thing about knowing yourself and knowing what you need. Mm-hmm. I'm also low carb.
Low carb at all? Do you eat bread?
I do occasionally. Probably on a Sunday morning, I would have a croissant if we're out
with
and
the bacon
about,
and eggs.
With my bacon and eggs. Not every Sunday, but I don't say never.
Do you ever have like cravings for such food?
That's a good question. I might have a craving for something, for Marmite, for example. I love Marmite, which is an English thing. Love it or hate it. So therefore, if David's having toast, then I'd probably have a bit of crust with some Marmite on it. But what other cravings do I have? I use a lot of cheese. Bacon. I have cravings for bacon.
Do you smoke?
Bacon. No.
Have you ever smoked?
Yes. I stopped smoking when I was 27. So I smoked for a couple of years prior to that.
Because I think it has an impact on how you look, how you feel.
Yeah, and every now and then I think, oh, it'd be so much easier, wouldn't it, if you wanted to eat and then you had a cigarette in your hand and then you think, oh, I'm smoking a cigarette, so I don't need to eat. But
you would be
not.
so good.
It's the smell.
I don't like the
The
smell,
smell's
but it
bad.
looks nice.
It does look quite.
Yeah, you look like a Hollywood actress,
Yes.
from a film, like a Jarmusch film or something.
But let's not tell the kids that.
No,
Don't
never.
know.
Never. Movement is the third pillar. And how often do you do sports? Like, how much movement do you have in your life?
I used to be a runner. I was a runner all my life. David and I did a 100-kilometer run back in 2019. And it was my ambition, the year or 2 years after that, to try and do that again faster because we were very slow. But now I don't run. I'm so over running. And so my mission was to do the splits. I like to have a mission, an aim to do the splits by the time I was 60. And it took me just over a year. And I love stretching. I love the fact that I'm in a stretching class with 30-year-olds who can't touch their toes. And I can put my whole palm on the floor. And
it's a bit about the competitive drive as
great.
well.
I am a little bit competitive, yes. But moving, I think, is really important, especially, at any time, but especially as you get older. People talk about weights, which are important because you lose muscle mass. We all know that. But I think being able to twist and turn, I haven't had any back issues, touch wood, or shoulder issues since starting my stretching classes. And I did have those issues before.
Community.
It's those people around you. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
I've heard this phrase, but I never, let's say, who are the 5 people you spend your most time with?
My husband.
Yes.
For sure. He is definitely a glass half full all the time, annoyingly so, actually. During COVID, I'd be a bit down and he'd say, this, that, and the other. I said, David, can you just not be, can you be down just for 5 minutes? Can you just come down here where I am and just, be a bit glum? But he's always positive, annoyingly.
There is a special definition, toxic positivity.
Okay.
When someone is too positive and you get annoyed by this.
That is so annoying. Yes, calm down already. Maybe I'm a bit like that sometimes. I've got to remember that. Am I being toxically positive? God, you got me going there. Nobody else is fixed around me, but the people that I would choose, for example, I've got a lovely friend called Hershey. She gives the best hugs and she makes me laugh. And when you spend time with somebody just having coffee and then you leave and you just feel like you're on a high. Those are the people that you want to spend time with. People who lift you up.
Why do you think it's important to be surrounded by these people? Because it's a choice, but not everyone thinks that it's a choice. And people are like, but I have these relatives, maybe my family is
Everyone has relatives like that. You just don't spend as much time with them as you did before.
So it's a conscious choice of your community.
If I do that, what's going to happen? If I don't do it, what's going to happen? Do I want to feel down for the rest of the day if I have coffee with that person? Or do I want to be saying, sorry, I'm busy today, might lie, and do positive stuff?
Yeah, but saying no sometimes is harsh.
It is, but again, what are the? You've got to write it down if you need to. So you
Just don't
you've
reply.
been
Don't read the messages.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. But writing stuff down really helps. If you're not sure about something, write down exactly what's the thoughts that are coming out of your head. And it really helps clarify situation, even as far as eating or not eating. So I'll go to the fridge. I'll look in the fridge and there'll be nothing there, even though I'm the one that does the shopping, there's nothing there that I want to eat. So I close the fridge and I walk away. So why did I go to the fridge? Write that down. I actually have no idea. I'm assuming it was because I thought I was hungry. Then when I looked, I realized I wasn't and I didn't. But why did you go to the fridge? Why do you go to the fridge? Why did you eat what you took out of the fridge? It's interesting writing stuff down, learning about yourself.
Learning about yourself and learning about the impact that other people have on you. Because I think it's not obvious for a lot of people. As I said, a lot of people don't think they have a choice, first. And second, I think sometimes people don't really know which community they want to belong or which relationships do they want to have. And that's the question. Let's say if somebody sees this podcast and realizes, oh, actually, I'm not surrounded by people who support me. Like, what do I do? What is next?
You either join a group of people, be it runners, be it chess players, probably in your case. I know a few Russians who play amazing chess and they belong to chess groups. That was really rude of me to assume that you played chess, but do you?
No, I don't. But our mutual friend Anastasia does.
She does. That's who I was thinking of, yes.
Yes.
So find a group of people who think the same way as you. Now, if you cannot find that group, start a group. That is I think, again, writing down things that you want out of life. How do I feel right now? How do I want to feel? What can I do to make those feelings work for me? So, start a group if you can't find a group.
I like this, but I think it's also very important to think, why is it possible to do it? But because a lot of people pay so much attention why it's impossible to do it.
Yeah.
And then you always find why no.
Yeah.
It's quite easy, to be honest. Like, why would I fail?
It's the words that you use. That's another thing. Why does my husband tell people he's an old triathlete? Drives me crazy. Don't say you're old. You're not old. You're the one using that word, and yet we are trying to tell people that we are not old. I got into an elevator and a little girl looked at me and she said, "Mummy, is that lady a witch?" Because I have grey hair. It's so funny how people have preconceptions of. So I have to be old to have grey hair. And the majority of women, if they wanted to ask me a question, is why are you grey when you could have brown hair?
What is your answer to that?
Because it's my choice, and I would not be the person I am today if I didn't have grey hair. I wouldn't have got that opportunity. I wouldn't get half the work I get now if I was not grey.
Have you ever dyed your hair?
I got to Dubai 15 years ago with grey hair and very short. And every woman I met said, "You can't be grey in Dubai." So I dyed it because I wanted to fit in.
Yeah, we always change when we want to fit in.
Yeah.
But how did it feel at that point?
Fine, because I was fitting in.
And then you fit in, and then you're like, I'm going to do my own thing.
I'm not doing this anymore. Hang on a minute. Yeah, I did it for about 8 years. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be going to the hairdresser every 3 weeks, spending so much money. When my mother was grey all the way through, she started going grey in her mid-20s, and she had some friends who were stunningly beautiful as grey, white-haired women. I thought, well,
no,
maybe
grey
I can do
is
that
beautiful.
too.
It's just like, I think in the...
It's just a hair colour.
Yes, but in the mass media, it's just like, oh, if you have the grey hair, what do? You dye your hair. It's like a rule, which doesn't make any sense, to be honest.
Yes.
But also, I think it's even a tragedy when like women notice the first grey hairs. It's like, the moment. And they were like, oh
Panic.
my God, you call your best friend. You're like, you know, kind of like, there is a story behind it.
Yes, you're right.
Being a woman advocate and the advocate of happy aging, if we can call this.
Yes.
What do you think are the biggest struggles that modern women have right now?
Oh my gosh. I think believing that they can have it all early on. Because life is showing them. You talk, for example, here, when you're 19, you can be given a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Well, what have you got to look forward to? So I don't think it's a healthy thing to have everything too early in life.
I don't think either.
I think it's a good idea to grow into these exciting things. And I think that that's a challenge, and it's not necessarily the young person's fault. I don't know it's anyone's fault, but I think that their expectations are so high and they expect it early.
Do you think is there a way to work on that? Because even I am, let's say, when I'm stuck in social networks, just scrolling reels on Instagram, I'm like, wow, I should want this. I should
a
want
Birkin
this.
for your 21st.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
Because everyone's got one.
Exactly. And it's like everyone.
Everyone, I know. And even at my age, I'm thinking, well, I'd quite like a Birkin, but now I'm beginning to think, I don't know if I want a Birkin anymore. I mean, actually, I have a Birkin, but I bought it from a pre-loved shop a long time ago. But do you know what I mean? I was just suddenly thinking that.
love that.
It's a 35 and it is extremely heavy and it's really bashed up. And it
You
was
don't have to
even-
justify
I
your
don't-
choice.
I don't have to justify. No, but you watch them walking around their little Kellys. Let's change it to Kelly. I don't have a Kelly. It's really nice to look forward to things. And if I had had everything in my early life, maybe I would be a very different person now. So what are you giving your child for Christmas, for example? It can be a tendency for the value of that to go up every year to the point where the expectations are so high.
Yeah, especially with the modern kids.
And guilty. Got to Dubai. I think we gave them all both children, and surprised my husband with a laptop. But apples back then were expensive. They're really expensive now. What do you get for the next birthday and Christmas?
Yeah, but that's a big question I think all parents are facing. All parents who have worked, who have gained some money. They're like,
look at
how...
the iPhone prices, and every kid wants an iPhone.
Yes, and it's kind of a rule of a school or something, and kids try to compete with that,
Yes,
and kind of like you
yes.
have to have it, otherwise you are like I don't know, old
Yeah.
or something
Yes.
like that. But
Very tough. But I think you have to stand by what you believe in as a parent. And again, the kids need to learn that not everything. Our kids, David was in the military for 30 years. Military would pay a percentage of the boarding school fees. So the kids went to boarding school. We moved around every year, every 2 years. We lived in India, Canada, America, all over the world. Occasionally, we would have to say, you can't go on that ski trip. We can't afford to send you on that ski trip. They learned. And maybe there would be one other person who didn't go on it, but everyone else went. That's really tough as a parent to say that, but they are learning from that. And I think it's important to know that these things, your children are learning from these things. Every decision you make, by saying yes, 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 all the way through, what are they learning?
I just realized it's funny. Say yes to life, but sometimes no to your children.
Yes. Yes, say no.
No, but saying no is important.
It is important.
Because we have to say that. Saying yes to all the opportunities is sometimes also saying a no to some other opportunities to yourself. Let's say when you're always having coffees with random people in Dubai, you're saying no to your personal time, your me time,
Yes.
your beauty routine, your wellness routine, whatever. It's like as you said, we can't have everything in life. And the social networks especially give this idea, the image that you can combine everything and like...
Yes, but I do love having coffees with random people, actually, because I tend to always learn something from them. So if somebody says, I'd love to meet you, I would meet them for coffee. And I love doing that. And I consider that time well spent. But I certainly think that we need to say no more, and also for your children to understand that you are a human and you are your own person. So you get impatient, you get angry, you want to be alone. Leave me alone in the loo. I'm now closing the door. You are not just a mummy. And I think that's really hard to take on board. You can snap, you can swear. I'm the mummy, I occasionally swear. You don't, you're the child. So all the way through, I remember my daughter saying, you're not the boss of me. Well, I am, actually. But she would say that often.
From what I hear, I would say that life curiosity is your feature, your trait that you actually manage to save and nurture throughout life. Is there a way, from your point of view, to boost this life curiosity, to stay curious? Like, what is this recipe? What is the secret way of staying curious to life and being interested in what is happening? As you said, you're still interested in having coffees with random people because you learn. I think at some point, a lot of people lose this. They're like, but I'm no longer interested.
Some of that could be to do with hormones. You know, going through menopause, remembering that perimenopause starts at the age of 37 on average. So you're going through perimenopause for 10 years prior to menopause. So you have got all of these symptoms going on, from frozen shoulder to itchy ears to feeling like ants are crawling over you. Things that happen to you that you don't even know are to do with it. With that, confidence goes down. And so unless you address and start making a list of your health, again, looking after yourself, oh, why is that happening? That's weird. There's probably a reason for it. So when is your period? How regular is it? Is it the same? Taking care of yourself and knowing that there are changes happening and you feel less confident. You don't want to go out as much. So then you might get to 50 and say, oh, I didn't ever have any symptoms. I went through menopause and it was absolutely fine. Not knowing that any of those symptoms had anything to do with it. Then you get to the stage where you've lost your confidence. There have been times when I've thought, I don't want to drive. I could almost stop my car right now and I don't want to drive anymore, especially, it can be a bit crazy out there.
Can be.
And I thought, no, come on, get on with it and just get on with it. It would be so easy if you had that mindset, say, oh, I'm not going to drive anymore. It's too scary. I'm not going to climb that mountain. I'm not going to go out there because something might happen. And again, that's kind of normal, but you can completely change it if you have the right doctor and are aware of the changes that are going on in your body.
Were you aware of these changes?
No, I didn't. I started HRT, hormone replacement therapy, when I was, I think, 50. No idea at all. I remember my mother throwing saucepans around the kitchen. Looking back on it, that would have been menopause, but no idea. And I love saying to people, when did your mum go through menopause?
I think I asked this question to my mom, but she didn't give a proper reply.
No. Isn't that so funny? And even if I asked my mum, she would say, I don't know. And she's not on HRT. she really should be, but she would just say to me, I don't need it.
Do you think that women are ashamed of that, or women just...
Because it's an age thing, and
Yeah.
it is very definitely, it's probably worse than grey hair, even, being menopausal, which is why I like to say that perimenopause starts at 37. And 99% of you are going to go through it and feel the symptoms. The odd person may not. But just look after yourself and go and see a doctor before it's on top of you in your 50s and you've gone through all those night sweats and all the horrible things, because you don't have to.
And how did you feel during that period of life? Because it feels that now, at the age of 60, especially after rediscovering yourself at the age of 54, you feel great. At least I can feel the energy. But at that moment of your life, especially if you're not aware of the changes in your body.
I was working as a receptionist in a school, 6.5 years. So I had a couple of really good girlfriends there. And we would just say, oh my God, I was at a restaurant last night. I just started sweating and literally my clothes were wet. And then she said, oh yeah, I felt like I had that. And the three of us, oh my God, do you think it's menopause? It's as simple as that. Unless you have people to talk to about it. But you probably wouldn't. How old are you?
33.
Am I allowed to ask that?
Of course, I'm not hiding that. So still 4 years
Right.
before the beginning of the
but still,
potential menopause.
it's always good to keep track of your periods and to know yourself. Because I think, we started off this conversation with just not looking after yourself and not listening to yourself.
Yeah. But it's interesting because I said I am 33 and I feel young, but I know actually some of my closest girlfriends, they are very, I would say, they're very worried about being 30 plus. And some of them are single, some of them don't have kids. And this is like a big thing. They were like, I've never been married. I've never had kids. Maybe that's also like a Slavic thing. I don't know, because there is a lot of pressure in that part of the region. But a lot of women, even in their 30s, they feel so much pressure, like how my life should be looking.
Yes. Yeah. And is that pressure coming from other people?
From
Or
other
is it
people,
you?
from families,
Yes. Yes. Why aren't you married?
Yeah.
When are you going to have children?
Yeah.
I mean, my daughter's only been married for a year and I'm already saying, oh, can we have a baby now? Say,
a
Mom,
Ferrari
just give me a
ride."
chance. Just give me
Yeah.
a chance. Yeah, but I really want a baby.
But do you think, is there something we should say to that, like girls who are actually quite young, but feel so much
You're
pressure?
not going to change. You're not going to change their minds. We cannot change people.
Okay, so it's not only about your personal decision to change your mindset.
Yeah, we can't. My husband repeats that to me over and over. You can't change people, so don't try.
And your
It's not my
husband is a
job.
coach.
He is.
I mean, that is
Don't
important
you be
to
coaching
mention.
me, but yeah.
Yeah.
He is.
How does it feel to have been living with a coach? Because a lot of people think, oh, he must be coaching her all the time, you know?
Certainly doesn't. Well, he was a brigadier in the army. He got to brigadier, and so he would occasionally come home and do what sounded like a command, and I'd nip that in the bud very quickly, but not really. I say that facetiously. He occasionally tries to coach me, but no.
Okay.
It doesn't work when husbands try to teach you to drive, or I think. I mean, it certainly wouldn't work in my house.
No, never. But coming back to the menopause, you think it's important to voice it and have somebody to discuss it with?
Because if we don't talk about it, then your generation is going to be the same as my generation, and we didn't deal with it. And my mum didn't deal with it. So how are we going to change that? We are only going to change it by talking about it and making it okay to talk about it. Why are you feeling that way? Why? We are so good, women are so good at sitting down and talking to each other and making themselves feel better.
That's the mission, the module of my podcast.
It is. If you change one person and make one person feel better, you've done your job.
What's the best advice that you ever got from a woman?
I generally say less is more.
Can you elaborate on that?
I think it makes sense in so many ways. I don't know. I prefer shorter paragraphs to longer ones. That would be one. Face routines, the way you dress, take
The way
one
you
thing
eat.
off before you leave the house, the way you eat, for sure. It can cover quite a lot of things.
What is the advice that you would give to your younger self?
Make mistakes. It's the way we learn.
Would you ever change anything in your previous life?
No. I did some silly things, but I didn't ever hurt anyone.
But are you like, have you ever focused on past mistakes? Because
Yes.
that is my
Yes.
kind of
But what benefit does it give you? Can you do anything about it? Again, write it down. If you can't sort it out in your head, write it down. How is it benefiting you having those thoughts? What are you going to do about it? So, for example, my father, I used to, why didn't he love me enough to stay? Why did he leave and then go and have 6 children with another woman? Where do I fit into that? I was his first child. So all of this obviously is still in my head, but it used to really upset me. So I wrote a letter to him, and the person that told me to write this letter said, now either you have the choice to send it or burn it. And I didn't want a relationship with him, so I didn't send it. So I burnt it. And it was such a relief. Just having written all of that down, it was a cleansing.
Thank you for saying that. I think that's a really important thing to do at some point in your life, especially when something bothers you, triggers you, makes you feel.
But it wasn't until my 40s
Bad.
that I did that.
You did it in your 40s. What made you feel this? What made you write that?
Because I met this person and they suggested I did it. And I thought, well, it can't hurt.
Yeah. I like this. And I like that you can make it at any point in your life. It doesn't matter if it hurts you. Like if it bothers you, there is time for that. Nice. I like it. We are talking about life transitions here and the moment that make us self-aware and aware of our superpowers. What would you tell to a person to a woman probably, who's going through life transitions? Maybe she doesn't know what's going on with her. Maybe she wants to do something but is afraid that she's not good enough. What do I do?
Recently, I offered to do a Zoom with people who had contacted me about starting out with modelling. So Sunday morning, just at this random Zoom. And then this lady would message me afterwards and say, okay, I've done what you said. I've got the pictures. Can you help me choose the pictures? What do I do with the pictures? And I said, I didn't say I don't have time to look, but I said, just try putting some on your Instagram. She said, oh, but I don't really know which ones to put. I said, well, just try putting some up and see which ones work best. Okay, but I really want to create a different Instagram page to the one that I've got for this. Well, go for it. She knows those answers, but she believed she needed me to help her. But she could have answered those herself. She could have said, I'm just going to try it. What harm is it going to do? Just go for it.
Trust your gut feeling.
Trust your gut feeling, exactly.
I like it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.